I'm AJ Green. You're watching NFL in London.
All right. Hey, it's Wade and Callum Squires here. Callum's joining me. How's it going, buddy?
How you doing, man? Good to be back.
Good. Nice to have you back. Your American girlfriend has gone back home.
Yeah, back in Houston, safe and sound. So I'm plodding the lone furrow.
Yeah, all the British girls. That's what you get to hit now. Welcome to my world. It's horrible. NFL season. You've been watching it. What have you thought of the season so far?
Yeah, no, I've been very lucky in the last couple of weeks to be at both Tottenham Hotspur Stadium games.
Oh, you have? You've been at both?
Yeah.
You saw the beatdown on my Bears.
Yes, I was. I mean, we'll get to the Bears obviously as we go on. I mean, it was tough for them. I was surprised at how good a game it was. I didn't think there would be as much offense from the Raiders as they managed to deliver. The Bears defense didn't really kick in as you'd expect them to in that one, which was somewhat of a surprise.
Yeah, the Oakland defensive line in that game played really well. Like, you can actually see how stunted and the way that they were able to actually get at the quarterback. I mean, Trubisky, I'm not a big fan of him as I go on, bear down. But Eli Manning's available. Anyway, but yeah, and the game last week, Jameis Winston, jazz hands.
Oh, I mean,
jazz hands cannot hold on the balls.
I don't like Jameis at the best of times. Either as a player or as a person, but yeah, they kind of set the tone with the first play of the whole game when you throw a pick on the first play, and the Panthers defense was really kind of the story. I mean, in actual fact, McCaffrey got player of the match, and everyone was talking about his touchdown catch and run, which was impressive. But they held him in check really well.
Did.
Generally, the Buccaneers' run defense was really good, but the Panthers' defense overall, just when you get 5 interceptions, you're probably going to win the game unless something outrageous happens.
When Douche Knuckle is dropping so many balls as well, like, it was just his ability to hold on to the ball, and to me it's just stupefying because you've got the quarterback whisperer, you've got Bruce Arians there who's telling him what to do, and he just, I don't know. Is he going to be driving for an Uber soon? Oh, was that a sore subject?
I mean, I don't see a situation unless things change rapidly where he's still a starting quarterback in 2 years. I mean, maybe even a start next season.
There's a few guys. I mean, even when you start looking at Cam Newton too. I mean, you look at his ability. To me, he's like one of those shell-shock war veterans that comes back. He used to be this big dude that he would just stomp through everyone and just run and go for the ball, and he would go for those extra yards, and he just feels a bit trepidatious.
He looks broken down, and he certainly did in the first couple of games this year, and it'll be really interesting to see when Cam Newton does come back, what they do with Kyle Allen. I mean, he's held the fort down pretty well, and he's played pretty well, and as big of a fan of Cam as I am, generally, is he 100%? Maybe not. Do you just you ride the hot hand until something goes wrong, and we'll see.
I think sometimes you have to wonder because it's like a psychology thing. It's a weird thing. Because I was actually watching. There's a girl I was actually watching with, and she's like a psychology person, and she was like, "The hats. What do you think the hats mean?" I was like, "Oh, he's just being a person. He's just doing the hat." She's like, "Do you think that they reflect his feelings?" I was like, "That's silly." What? Maybe. Like you see these hats, these grandiose hats. Is it a compensation? I don't know. I mean, he's fashion, but. Is that a sign that maybe you've lost your love for the NFL? I don't know.
He's not himself, or he hasn't seemed himself. Certainly, the end of last season and the start of this. So I hope for his sake and for the Panthers that they get back together, because a Newton McCaffrey 1-2 punch and some actually quietly talented receivers they've got. They're a solid team, but the Buccaneers are more in trouble than the Panthers, I think.
I really find it too, because when you look at Christian McCaffrey, and I love the guy, I think he's amazing. He's a workhorse, but they do. You ever seen those donkeys in like Turkey and they carry everything? Next thing you know, they're parasailing. You're like, that donkey does everything, but it's gonna die.
Eventually.
He's the parasailing workhorse donkey.
If they don't treat him carefully, he'll burn out. And you look at the usage rates of some of the bigger running backs in the league, and obviously injuries have played a part with Gurley, but he's not the workhorse he was 2 years ago. And you wonder about. As strong and tough as McCaffrey seems, how much more can they squeeze out of him before he starts to decline in actual, production?
Well, and that's, it's also looking at how we look at. We'll talk about the Thursday night game, obviously, but Patrick Mahomes' knee, the patella going around, and everyone's talking about this. And I know some guys in hockey who have had this happen and they never came back.
Yeah,
they never came back. And so, look, I'm not trying to be this naysayer of it, but that's a serious friggin' injury, man.
I mean,
when your knee spins, and you actually saw them move his knee, that's a scary injury. It's a very scary injury.
I was watching it, and you hate to see it. Not just for any player, but especially for an MVP, such a talented player, and I think the Chiefs take a massive hit now in terms of potential. Matt Moore, to be fair to him, did okay, had a really nice throw to Tyreek Hill for the touchdown, and is generally probably one of the better backups in the league. Yeah. I would say top 20, top 15 backups for sure. He was a relatively good servant to my suffering Dolphins for a long time. And, I was happy to see him have some success last night. But the Chiefs, as much of a threat as Tyreek Hill is, it's a downgrade on Kelsey when he can't get the ball down so much. Their run game looks anemic at best.
Yeah.
LaShawn McCoy did okay last night. Damian Williams looks like a shadow of himself from last season. So I think it's a real hit for the Chiefs. And if anything, I think it could be a real wake-up for the Raiders and the Chargers, who themselves have had problems. But both of those teams now can kind of smell a chance in the AFC West.
You look at a lot of these divisions, and you even look at the AFC North, where Pittsburgh were horrible, but they got a second win, and now they're second. So I mean, obviously the NFC North, and I'm being biased, but the NFC North is the best division in football right now. But all right, the one thing I do want to talk about, because you did go to the games at Tottenham. What did you think of the stadium? How did you feel about the experience?
The stadium is fantastic. It honestly shoots Wembley out of the water. Wembley has its problems just built on its infrastructure. When you've got that many seats, getting in and out of it is a bit of a nightmare. For me, being based in North London, obviously Tottenham is a lot closer and a lot more fun, but I felt generally from the way the stadium had been designed, it was really efficient. You were in and out quite quickly and easily. It was really well done. They seem to have really taken kind of care into making it a fan-friendly experience. I haven't been to a soccer game there yet, though I would like to eventually, but for the NFL, I thought it was an unbelievable venue, and the fans there just really loved it. It was pretty much every seat in the house was sold, from what I could tell, and I thought it was top quality, and I'm not surprised that they're trying to make the NFL's home in London be the new Tottenham Stadium, because it is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sort of word we've heard from everybody. It's not only great, but what I really appreciated was, and what I saw is everyone who sent pictures in to us, the sight lines, it doesn't seem like there's a bad seat in the house.
There really isn't. The first week for the Bears-Raiders games, I was kind of more in the top tier towards one of the end zones, and then last weekend for the Panthers-Bucks, I was behind the end zone in kind of the big wall. And you're just looking around, and even at different levels, the way it's designed and the way it's built is really with the fans in mind.
Yeah.
And, you can see everything.
That's great.
And for a sport like football, where there's obviously lots of things that can be easy to miss with the massive bodies, you really didn't feel like you weren't attached to the game. You always felt like there was something that you could see and that you didn't miss anything, which was, kind of, if you're going to pay the money for the ticket, you want to be able to see the game, obviously. So I thought it was really well done.
Exactly. And I mean, I think that because you also have about 20,000, 25,000 less than Wembley, that makes a difference when every one of those 65,000 can actually see the game in a great time, enjoy it. They're serving, unlike soccer or football matches, they actually allowed you to have beer in the stands.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the whole, gadget of the beers that fill up from the bottom that have been kind of a novelty piece, but it's really well done. And you can take the beers in and out, and everyone's kind of sees a touchdown, sees the extra points made, runs down to get a beer, and then by the time they've taken the kickoff, you're back in your seat. And, that's efficiency at the highest order. It's built for the fans to enjoy themselves, and they did a really good job.
That's good. Do you think, though, because in North America, you've obviously lived in Texas, you've been to North American games. In North America, we sell beers to your seats. Yeah. Guys just come around, hey, there's a beer, and it's usually a little warm and soapy, but you get it to your seat. And do you think that will happen here? Because
I think people would love it here if that was possible. I don't think it will happen in the soccer world just because of the rules and regulations on that. But in my mind, if you're going to allow different rules for different sports in that same stadium, then why not allow the sport to pick its rules? And if it's good enough for a Kansas City crowd, why is it not good enough for a London crowd? So I think it would probably head that way generally. And there were people selling food to seats. There was someone selling some donuts and some snacks and things, which you appreciate. But the need for refreshment.
And that doesn't happen in football, does it?
No. In a Premier League game, no, there's no one walking up and down the stairs during the match, and it's almost frowned upon to leave your seat during the half, really. If you have to go to the bathroom, then someone's going to rush. But it's not something you do. You don't obstruct other people's views to walk in and out. Whereas obviously, I think there's more to the experience of the day in the North American culture. Like the sport is obviously hugely important, but the sport will be 60-75% of the day, and then you've got the 25% of the being there and everything. Whereas in England, certainly with the Premier League, if Arsenal are at home, the Arsenal fans, 99% matters on what the result is.
No, exactly.
And so it's just a different experience. And I like the fact that you can go to the same stadium for two different sports, and they do feel different.
Yeah,
you don't want
great.
everything to feel the same.
No, exactly. You want a unique
going to
experience, and that's what they're delivering.
Yeah.
And that's great. All right, we're going to get into our games. Callum and I are going to predict some of the games this week. We're going to look at some of the great games. This one, maybe not so great. 2-3, Arizona Cardinals. 2-3-1, Arizona Cardinals. 2-4, New York Giants. Giants are favored by 3 in this one. 50.5 over/under. And, the Giants have had some time to prepare for this game, obviously after losing against the Patriots on Thursday Night Football this week. But they've also got some guys back. They got Saquon Barkley back. They got Sterling Shepard back. They got Evan Ingram back. And Patrick Peterson is also back for Arizona. This is a run, punish, run game. How do you see this one going there, Callum?
I think that I was actually quite impressed with the Giants against the Patriots. They did better than I thought they would for sure. That Patriots defense is obviously very
insane.
Intense
It's
and
insane in defense,
and, rightly viewed as kind of one of the most feared groups in the whole NFL right now. Saquon Barkley is a huge re-addition to the whole thing. I think he provides just so much spark, and as Gallman's filled in okay, but realistically, you're a top round draft pick for a reason, and Barkley is that guy. I think the Giants will probably win a close one.
Okay.
I'm really growing to love watching Kyler Murray and everything he's doing, throwing the ball and running the ball. David Johnson had a good week last week. He's still
240 yards before the half.
He's still trying to find David Johnson's
been he's an iconic running back. I hate to say iconic for a guy who's younger than me, but he's iconic.
He's
and Larry Fitzgerald as well.
I mean, Larry speaks for himself. They've done well because they've been out without Christian Kirk as well, who's obviously
he's very big.
Targets. So I could see it being a close one at 31-28.
31-28 for the Giants.
I think there'll be points. I don't think either defense is particularly intense right now. Patrick Peterson is obviously a great re-addition for the Cardinals. But I think with Barkley and Ingram, I think is back. Shepard might not be, but Ingram.
They're saying hopefully they should all be back, but Barkley being a big one. I'm the same way. I actually have the score 30-28, which is weird. Close. Your first one, you're back in. But the thing is, Arizona can give and take at the same time, and New York secondary can be torched. And that's where it's going to come in. Larry Fitzgerald. I also think David Johnson, they're going to have a hard time containing him because he gets going. They use him in the slot quite a bit. I have this one 30-28. It should be a big, high-scoring game. The over-under of this one is 50.5. I'm also favoring this one, but a cover in this one. Now we look into the big NFC game. Look, this one, Houston 4-2, Indianapolis 3-2. Indianapolis coming off this bye week. Where they're starting to get stuff together. Jacoby Brissett is playing very well, but Houston, let's not forget they've lost to Kyle Allen and they've also lost to Gardner Minshew. So while everyone is talking about how big Houston is and these wins that they've been pulling up and this win they've had against the Chiefs, this is a different offensive line. And Jacoby Brissett, to me, and these Colts, these guys got a lot of talent. This offensive line is probably the best offensive line in the NFL. And their defense plays good too. So this is going to be an interesting game for me. Houston finally facing a team that has a bye week and they're coming into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Houston have been intriguing so far. The losses that they've had, you wouldn't have pegged them to have had losses. But I don't think I really expected them to go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs last week.
I picked the scores up by 1 point. 1 point, check it up. 1 point.
I think Deshaun Watson speaks for himself, is an absolutely incredible player. They've kind of started to get Will Fuller work back in. He had that incredible 1 week. He was close to getting a couple touchdowns last week. Hopkins, what can you say about the man? For me, the best receiver in the league. Incredible. I think that... But everything you said about the Colts is also very valid. They are... To me, they've punched a little bit above their weight so far.
Okay.
I think that as great as the offensive line is, and Brissett's done well, I don't think Brissett is Andrew Luck.
No, he's not.
I do think there will be some sort of a regression. I do think the Texans will win the game, though I do think it'll be close.
Okay.
I'd say 28-24 for the Texans. I just think with Watson and kind of his ability to create plays, I think they've got enough to get past the Colts, who, with Mack up front and T.Y. Hilton's always a threat. they've got talent and they've got a chance in this, which is I don't think it'll be a blowout by any means. But I was surprised to see Houston being the slight underdog because I do think Houston are the real deal.
I'm not surprised. In fact, I think this could be a really ugly game.
Yeah.
I think Indianapolis could really beat the crap out of them in this game. I've got it 28-21, but Indianapolis had the week off.
Yeah.
They're at home in this dome. And they're 3-2
You're trying to talk me out my pick here.
Well, I am. I'm just telling you my pick. It's a 1-point game. I had Indianapolis favored in this game by 6.
Wow.
That was sort of my maths in it. But coming off this week, Jacoby Brissett is playing very well.
Yeah.
He may not be under luck numbers, but he's got the guys. But they've had this time off, and they've had the time to look at it. Houston has come off this emotional win over Kansas City. Are they drained? Yeah. They're injured? Yeah.
You make a very fair point, especially
and you're
with the bye week being a huge thing in the NFL.
It's always
such a huge thing.
and these guys have watched everything. They've got it. They got the tape. They got the bye week. It's like, all right, now we're ready to plug. They know at 3-2. Yeah, if we win 7 games, we're in. We're in. So this is first up. Knockout Houston, who's been injured and who's just won an emotional game, who's tired off of Kansas City. I have this one 28-21 for the Indianapolis Colts. We don't talk much about this next team. Miami 0-5. Buffalo 4-1. 4-1 Buffalo. 17 points in this game with an over-under of 41. All I can say about this is the porn bang bus or whatever they are, the porn bus. I don't know who they are. I don't know. I don't watch porn. I listen to porn. No, I don't know. But dildos and porn. Dildo baggins and porn. Buffalo, you throw dildos in the field. Miami, they bring porn. I'm not going to watch this one, but I've got Buffalo winning this one 31-7. 17-point favorites. Miami is just, it's like talking about the kid who gets beat up all the time. You're like, hear about Jerry again? I don't want to talk about that.
The best thing that happened was the failed 2-point conversion last weekend. To go for 2 to try and win a game when you've sold out everything to tank.
Yeah.
Just don't
Just
even try.
just try. Go for the try.
It's
Go for the
just
try.
embarrassing.
Yeah. So, what's your score in this one?
I believe I had 31-7 as well.
31-7.
Incredible. I tell you what, I had 31-6. I don't think the Dolphins are good enough to score a
touchdown.
touchdown.
Two field goals.
I don't think the Dolphins are good enough to score a touchdown. They're an embarrassment. But at least, in comparison to said Broncos that we've already mentioned, at least the Dolphins kind of have a direction.
Yes, they do.
It's very open and obvious what they're trying to do. But at least they're trying to do something rather than just failing repeatedly.
The Broncos, to me, the Broncos offense is one of the worst offenses in the friggin' league.
Troy Aikman was destroying them last
night.
They
were horrible. They were absolutely horrible.
I mean, Flacco, I've never been a Flacco fan, but there are people who believe. But, I mean, the Broncos look inept. And when you take 2 people who I actually think are relatively talented in Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman and make them so ineffective, you have to question the offensive play calling as well. All
right, we're moving on to the NFC North. My competitors, Minnesota, who, everyone hated them, and they love them.
Now everyone
Kirk Cousins is cousin, screwer, whatever you want to call him. And Stephon Diggs wanted to leave the team. And then Detroit, which possibly, to me, was one of those infuriating games. I've never wanted robot referees more than after seeing that game. And these are my division rivals. Yeah. Watching that game with 2 division rivals, and I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but Detroit was screwed so bad in this game. And if anyone who's listened to the podcast or when Ryan, I've been big on Detroit all year. Yeah. I said they should be sitting at the seat of the next to the Bears, right? Yeah. You know, you have the little lap dogs. Just you little lion, you little lion. That's what we're gonna have. And so this game, you got Minnesota 4-2, Detroit 2-1. Minnesota favored by 2 in this one, over under 44 points. And you've got you've got Minnesota. You know, you've got Stephon Diggs, but you've also got Darius Slay on the other side. Matt Stafford with a lot of protection. I'm going to tell you right off the get-go, I think Detroit's going to win this one. I've got Detroit winning this one 24-17. And I think Miami or Minnesota has just pushed themselves. It's in Detroit at home. They're emotional. They're emotional after that Green Bay loss. They are going to punch Minnesota in the throat.
Well, we've got the same score, but the other way around.
But hey!
So I'm going for Minnesota 24-17, and I'll tell you why. And, you know, this will be another one where we see who's right on this one. I can't trust the Lions while they still play so conservatively.
Sure. Yeah. They have made some conservative plays.
The referees were making mistakes, shall we say, at Lambeau last Monday night. When you kick 5 field goals in a game, you go for it once.
Yeah, you should.
4th and 3, maybe. I can't remember every single fourth down for the field goals, but there were some that were attemptable, shall we say. They weren't all 4th and 17s. For me, I can't yet trust Matt Patricia and their offense to do big things. Now, Holiday's fantastic. Marvin Jones produces somehow every now and then. Kerryon Johnson gets a lot of attempts, not necessarily as much of the production yet as I'd like to see to really believe in the offense. However, on the flip side of that, I love Dalvin Cook. Yeah. And I think that the Vikings, if they ride him, which I think they should in this game, you've got to remember that the Lions did an okay job on Aaron Jones, but Jamal Williams was torching them.
He was.
And Jamal Williams is not Aaron Jones, and I don't think Aaron Jones is Dalvin Cook. So by that logic, I think Dalvin Cook's in line for a big game here. I don't think it'll be high scoring. I agree with you on that. But 24-17 Minnesota, for me, if Darius Slay does have a good game against this, they've still got Thielen. Sneaky, he's forgotten about a little bit, but Kyle Rudolph is still very useful in the red zone if they get down there.
Sure.
And with the running game they have, I think the Vikings will have enough to win that one.
The difference, I think, also, like when you talk about Detroit and only being safe and kicking the field goals, you've lived in America, and you know what the police are like there.
Oh yeah.
Once you know, and say the referees are the police in this analogy, once you know the police, the referees are on you, you play it safe because everything you do is scrutinized. Yeah. And this was, I only needed to see the money kicked on the field at this point. It was so that 13. I refereed high school football, and I once called a team for having too many men on the field, and the coach threatened to beat the crap out of me. Yeah. But then when we actually saw it, and we saw there's too many men in the field, this is a high school mistake. Yeah. I don't see it.
Bad.
I've got Detroit winning this one. They're at home. They're motivated, and they're foes. Green Bay, who look, hey, you won, dicks, but you lost a lot of guys and a lot of injuries. Yeah. The wide receiver core is being depleted, and pretty soon, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to throw it into a vat of cheese.
This is the injury bowl generally. There's injuries on both sides.
So Oakland as well. And you've also got Burfict, who just idiot. Like, this was a guy that could have helped them stop any run game. But now you talk about Aaron Jones. Yeah. Aaron Jones is going to gash these guys. That's pretty much all they can do. Green Bay's got to go back to the running game. Aaron Rodgers did have some great throws. He always does still have some great pass protection. But the injuries now, Geronimo Allison, MVS, so Oakland sucks. They really do. And then they beat the Bears, but this is in Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by 5.5 points. The over-under 47.
Like I said, the injury bowl, and in reality, Green Bay is on wide receivers 4, 5, and 6 in terms of their depth chart, which is incredible, first and foremost. But Rodgers has a knack of making relatively mediocre talent look incredible by giving them the ball in places that only they can catch it. That throw to Lazard on Monday night was, whatever you think of the Packers and the refereeing and everything, deserves to win a game. That kind of throw is incredible. I do think the Packers will win this. Okay. I think that the Raiders have built some nice pieces to continue developing as a team. I think they're probably a year or two away from being a legitimate contender. Yeah. Josh Jacobs has had a nice start to his career. I like him a lot. They are without Tyrell Williams. Yeah. And having had the Antonio Brown fiasco, I don't really believe that they have true top-level talent in that receiving core. Renfro's a nice player. They've got some talent around him. Waller is the key. Yes. Green Bay are going to have to zone in on him. And if Derek Carr can find Waller, they'll be able to stay with him and move the chains. But if Green Bay shut down Waller, you then kind of wonder where the receptions are going to come from. So I have Green Bay winning this. My score was 31-24.
I have it 31-10, and I think that you just created a great new game called Where's Waller? Trying to find Waller on the field. All right, let's move on to the next game. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. Jacksonville 2-4, 3.5 point favorites. They're at Cincinnati. The Bengals, Andy Dalton has been up and down, but they're 0-6 now. You're in the O Club. 44 points. I don't know, man. Like, I want to pick Cincinnati at 1 point to win a game, but I don't know if this is the game. No. And, Cincinnati, do they want to go 0-7 at home? Buffalo throws dildos on the field when they play the Patriots. At this point, what are you going to throw on the field at Cincinnati? Because, this is getting really bad for them. And, they were hampered by injuries last year. They were hampered by coaching. But this is a combination of it. Does AJ Green even want to come back to this?
I mean, he's not going to play this week.
No.
I mean, if there were rumors of the Patriots interested in him, and if you're him and you give...
Why would you... I mean, the Patriots, they don't want a good wide receiver, do they? You have AB. Oh, you don't. He wants back.
If you're AJ Green and you have the choice between coming back to the Bengals or going to the Patriots, like, what decision are you really going to make?
Dude, I would go to the Dolphins.
I don't know if anybody wants to do that right now. But, no, I mean, I think the Bengals are toothless. I think they're pretty terrible. Mixon has some potential up front, but they haven't really been able to get him going. And, I'm a believer in Minshew. I like Minshew. I think the Jags are building something slowly. But they've got a couple of pieces. They don't have to pay Minshew for a while, and if he can develop, then he can potentially be good. I think their defense will really be on a mission this week to prove themselves with the loss of Jalen Ramsey. Yeah. Basically being, we're not just Jalen Ramsey.
We're not just our secondary. We still have a secondary.
And they can.
Yeah,
and the rest of them
their front seven's fine, but the secondary is going to be weak without him.
I mean, I have it low scoring, 24-13 Jags. I don't see it hitting the over-under. But yeah, I think generally the Bengals are pretty poor, and the Jags will take care of them with ease.
I got a 21-18. I have Cincinnati covering this one, 3.5 points. It's at home, and they're going to have to throw the kitchen sink, everything at this, because do you want to go 0-7 at home, and you're Washington, or you're Miami, pretty much now. I don't think they want to, but I still think they can't beat this team. Let's move on to where Jalen Ramsey went. Rams, 3-3 at Atlanta, 1-5. The Walking Dead was filmed in Georgia, and it's starting to look like it. 54.5 over under. I've always said, and I continue to say this, the problem with the Rams is their offensive line. Goff has no time. He can't get rid of it. And I called the game last week. Matt Ryan continues to put up huge numbers, but they keep going the other way on him as well. And so this game, this is going to be a score fest.
Yeah, I think the over-under of 54.
54.5, yeah.
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
54 now on this one as well. So 54 now. I had 54.5, but yeah.
I'm saying the Falcons might be able to hang with them just because I don't think Jalen Ramsey makes an instant impact. He has to learn the system and everything. It'll obviously be a huge addition for them. But I do think the Rams will win 31-27.
Okay.
I think, don't get me wrong, both teams need a win.
Yeah.
But I think the Rams need a win and actually have hopes of turning their season around, whereas I don't believe that the Falcons have that opportunity. The talent they have on the Falcons, they should not be 1-5. But they have a real dangerous habit of giving the ball away in the red zone. Just getting down to where you should be getting points and leaving with nothing. And I think with Gurley coming back this week, I do think the Rams will have enough to take care of them.
To me, this is a justice game for the Rams. They were able to put up points. Mm-hmm. They were able to come back on points. And this game, I think Atlanta, it's like pushing a Make-A-Wish kid down the stairs. And it's a horrible analogy, but that's it. Atlanta is a Make-A-Wish kid, and they need to push him down the stairs to be the best. And again, a horrible analogy. But the Rams have to win this one. They're going to be in Atlanta. Atlanta struggles sometimes at home, which is crazy. Struggling at home. Matt Ryan will still put up the points, but Atlanta's going to win this one. I've got this one 35-20, easily covering. Now we go to the next game. 49ers 5-0 at Washington 1-5. 49ers 9.5-point favorites in this game. Washington, they won a game. You beat Miami. It's great. Again, let's go back to those kind of Make-Wish analogies. But look, this is a 49ers team whose defense, their front is just incredible. And the running game, you know what? No one have said, hey, Matt Breida and Coleman are going to be guys you would take at the start of the season, but they're doing well.
Yeah, I think what you touched on there is really the key, is that I don't think Washington can stop a run, and I don't think Washington will be able to run based on the San Francisco front four. And that was really the reason they won the game against Miami last week, was they did lean on Adrian Peterson, who may be getting older but can still run forward and fall forward and get a few yards. So I think that with the kind of reduction in that, as good as McLaurin has been for the Washington team, kind of the real breakout this year, I just don't think they have enough pieces to really stand a chance against what is, again, a very good defense and an impressive 49ers team. I'm going 28-10 49ers. very, very simple cover. 9.5 sounds like a lot, especially on the road, but I just think they're that good, and I just don't think Washington have got anything really to put up a fight with.
Well, I think I've got this scoring game. I got 38-21, which is 59 points, only because of McLaurin. Washington does have that front that's very fast, but their secondary's got some holes in it. I mean, just 49ers have holes in their secondary. So I can see that secondary being exposed, just those long balls, those chucking balls that get down there. And also, if Jimmy G starts airing it out, he doesn't have the kind of accuracy. He's good with the running game, he's good with the short yards, but when you see him under pressure, he chucks the ball. And there's going to be some tips. Washington can still come at him. They're still going to have some pressure on him. I can see some of these points defensively, but I've got 38-21. All right, we went to the late games. We'll wrap this down. Chargers at Tennessee. Oh, LA, what happened to you? And Tennessee brought in your guy.
My guy.
Yeah, Tana Dump. But both the teams are 2-4. Tennessee is favored at this one, 2 points at home. No one have thought, I think, at the start of the season, these two would be this crap. I mean, a lot of people pick the Chargers to go all the way. Phillip Rivers, but they've had no protection on Phillip Rivers. Their defense has just been tepid. And now you've got Tennessee, who's been, they haven't used Derrick Henry that well. They haven't used Delaney Walker that well. And there was a lot of really bad miscues in this game. What do you see this one?
Everything in my head kind of tells me that with a banged up Chargers team that haven't been performing, going on the road to a defense that has been good in places this year. They shut down the Browns in week 1. Everything tells me that Tennessee should be the pick, and therefore I'm going with the Chargers because they just have too much talent, and eventually it has to come together.
Sure.
And I don't think the Titans have necessarily enough to contain the Chargers on their best day. Now, will it be their best day? Who knows? Yeah. The 1-2 punch potential of Gordon and Eckler is as good as any in the league if they can find a way to utilize them both. Last week, neither of them did anything. So you've got to think with those two, with Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry made a huge comeback and looks like the tight end that we all think he is. I just think 2.5 point favorites for Tennessee was a surprise to me when I saw that. I think LA would take this one for me. Is it 3.5?
It's 2 points down to 2 now. It's 2 now.
I think the Chargers just have too much for them. 23-14 for the Chargers. But I wouldn't be surprised if you or anyone else said the other way.
I'm going the other way. Look, it's Tennessee at home. And, I know what you're saying with the Chargers. It's like when you you have ideals or ideologies about, my dog is smart. I have a smart dog. And then it just keeps crapping in the house. You're like, I'm pretty sure I'm training it well. It's not. And, the Chargers are the crapping dog. You could see it when they played Pittsburgh. And, there's got to be something when, you're on LA down here and Pittsburgh up here, and they have more fans there by far. It's just like there's no belief in the team anymore. And Phillip Rivers can bring all of his kids' friends out to the game, but that's still only 60 kids. So I've got this one. Tennessee has to win at home. It's a home game. They're going to have to win. I've got Tennessee winning this one 21-14, covering the spread easily. All right, this will be a great game. 4-2 Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, what's going on, buddy? And Seattle 5-1. They find ways to win. I picked Seattle. New Orleans at the start of the season, that people know, won my NFC contest. And now we've got Seattle 5-1, 3 points, favorites in this game. But Seattle does not win games easily. It's always tight. They're always coming back. So this is going to be a tight game, but it's at Seattle. It's going to be loud. Baltimore's going to the West Coast. How do you see this one?
I love the Seattle team right now. I think Wilson is probably the front runner for MVP so far. He's been fantastic, making kind of with Rodgers syndrome, making some receivers that may not be that good look incredible. Jaron Brown looked great last week. DK Metcalf has had a really nice start, and Tyler Lockett is impressive. Chris Carson has kind of recovered from the early fumbles. I think he's the real deal.
Real hands.
Chris Carson is really, really talented, and I just think the Seahawks are too good to not win this game. Baltimore has impressed me. Lamar Jackson, what a transformation from year 1 to year 2. Mark Andrews has been a very nice receiver for him, but with Marquise Brown probably being out, I think they lack real threats to the Seahawks going deep. And as much as his legs and even Mark Ingram will gain them some yards, I think the Seahawks probably take this 28-21.
28-21.
Yeah.
Look, the Seattle plays a tight game, and they've always sort of seemed to come from behind. I could see Baltimore trying to using Lamar Jackson in different ways here. As Pete Carroll said, you can't prepare for this guy. You can't prepare for what he's going to do. He's still young, but I think Seattle's going to win. It's going to be tight, but I don't have them covering it. I actually have this 28-26. It could be a very tight game. I think it'll be a really enjoyable game to watch.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next game. Sunday night late game. New Orleans is 5-1 against my 3-2 Bears. Bears are favored by 3. The over-under is only 38 points. Sorry, pardon me. Getting all emotional. But there's a wind.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's, New Orleans under Bridgewater have not scored a lot of points. They've kept it in, but they're not a high-scoring game. They've used their defense to keep them in. So it's going to be interesting when they play our Bears and see what's going to happen, in Chicago. What do you have in this one?
I do have the Bears winning this. I'm not just saying this because I'm sat across the table from this
sure?
guy.
Yeah.
Please don't hurt me. But I have 2017 for Chicago.
Okay.
Bridgewater's done a great job.
Yes.
A really good job, and he's really helped them stay afloat with the loss of Breeze, and he is kind of now going to be the poster boy forever of, this is why you pay a backup quarterback, this is why you go out and get someone who has league experience, who can tide you over if your starter goes down for a small part. They're not going to win a Super Bowl with Teddy Bridgewater, but he's good enough to keep them in the hunt, and he's won games he should have won. And the difference comes this week with the Bears defense, who I think will be offended by how bad they were against the Raiders in London.
A week off, too. They've had Bears.
Time to recover. Now, Akeem Hicks not being able to play is a blow.
Yeah.
But I think the Bears defense will cover that, and I think that quite simply, even with Michael Thomas and Kamara, I just think the Bears defense will swarm, and they'll be able to find some offense just lying around somewhere, pick it up and put it in the end zone. 2017, close one. But I think the Bears will take it.
Look, we've got some issues to deal with in this team, and obviously, the quarterback issues, but also I think having this week off has been great for the Bears. What I've been really impressed with is Sean Payton. Sean Payton has done very well with his team. He plays it like a chess match. Everyone he takes on, he does it in a very unique way. He keeps them in the game. I think Alvin Kamara will be all right, but I think Teddy Bridgewater's in trouble this game. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. The Bears are at home. They've got a week off. 20-13 is what I have. 7-point game. All right, moving to the Sunday night game. Philadelphia 3-3, Dallas 3-3. Oh, the NFC East. What a trash bag you are. Dallas is favored by 2.5 points after losing the Jets. By the way, if you might have seen the podcast from last week, who called the Jets to beat the Dallas Cowboys? This guy did. And they did. 40.5 points is the over-under in this one. Will Dallas be able to move on and cover this? How do you have this one?
No is my answer.
Philly special?
I'm going to upset all my friends in Texas for this.
Do it.
I think the Eagles will be able to take the win here.
Okay.
I think that, and a lot of it honestly comes down to coaching.
Yeah.
I believe in Doug Peterson, and I don't in Jason Garrett. And I think Peterson knows what's on the line here. I think this is a huge, huge statement for the Eagles if they go into Dallas and pick up the win.
Yeah.
I think that they've got enough weapons. You're starting to see an emergence of Miles Sanders, who looked really good last week, even in defeat against the Vikings. Alshon Jeffrey's looking more like his old self, getting targets, making catches. And if they can find a way to get Aguilar really involved and a little bit more from Ertz, I think their passing attack with Carson Wentz starts to look dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't think the Cowboys have looked like themselves recently. Zeke has not looked like himself, I don't think. He had a pretty solid game last week with the touchdown late, but I don't think he looks like himself. I think maybe taking the whole of training camp off wasn't a good idea for early season production. And I just don't think the Cowboys quite have enough to stop the Eagles in this one.
No, I've got it the other way, though. I've got Dallas, actually. Dallas is at home. Dallas has got to be at home. And, having these losses, and you have 3 losses in a row, and you're going at home against one of your division rivals, and you've also seen how Minnesota shows how to beat them. Minnesota hit them on the deep ball. Their secondary wasn't ready for it. Zeke is going to have trouble running this game, but the deep ball is going to happen. Amari Cooper Dak is going to have to light him up. They're going to have to hit the ball deep, but Jerry Jones is not going to sit in that box and watch Dallas lose a fourth game. There's no way. Dallas 28-24. Last game, Monday night game. It's a battle of the East Coast. It's, 6-0? The Patriots are undefeated? But you know what? You showed they can get hurt. They're 10-point favorites of the New York Jets. Sam Darnold, kissing disease, 1-4, but they won their first game. And 44 points is the over-under, but a 10-point spread in this game. Tom Brady, this Patriots defense is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you're going to see a repeat of Darnold's heroics from last week and winning the game, though I do think they'll cover. I think that the Jets are actually maybe a little bit better than people have given credit for, but obviously when you lose your franchise quarterback early on in the season, it's not a surprise that they lost the games they lost. And even the way they lost them, because without him, Luke Falk went from being a starter to being cut.
Yeah.
That tells you something. I think, with Le'Veon Bell, with Robbie Anderson making a nice play last week, I think he's talented.
Yeah.
I think they've got enough. And also the Giants kind of showed a little bit that you can get to the Patriots.
You can shake them up. Look, they're not the 6-0. Look, they have a very easy record, but everyone's starting to figure out the chinks in the armor. Everyone's trying to figure out that way in, where the little spear gets in, how you can stab them, how you can slow them down.
Yeah, I mean, I have it 24-21 Patriots.
Ooh.
Close.
Yeah.
I could see the Jets making a late comeback and tying it up, and then Brady doing Brady and Gostkowski.
Yeah.
Well, not even Gostkowski, Nugent kicking a field goal to win it. I think the Jets will hang around in this game. I think they'll try and use Le'Veon Bell as much as they can to run the ball.
Yeah.
The Patriots defense is obviously the joker in the pack, and they could well swarm them. But I don't think this will be the blowout, and I don't see a 10-point game the way it's being predicted.
Either do I, actually. We finally agree on something, everyone. No, I don't. Jets played very well at home, and they played really good. The crowd got into it. Darnold, he looks good.
He's good.
He's got good patience. He has great vision. What I liked is he was able to pick out certain guys in the field. There are certain times where you can just knock out certain receivers, and you recognize one. He was hitting guys up the middle, which it's a sign of a good quarterback to me. I have this one 28-21. Look, the Patriots are still the Patriots. Bill Belichick is going to isolate certain things. I think he's going to isolate Le'Veon Bell in this one. He's going to want to stop Le'Veon Bell, who's killed him in the past. But Sam Darnold, he can scramble. He can throw the ball around. I've got this one 28-21. That's it. Sorry, that's our Week 7 predictions. Join us. We sometimes watch it at the Princess Alex. Find us. There's going to be some new betting options we've got going on as well. Look for those as well. Thanks a lot to Callum, who's joined me here today. And we'll see you Sunday, everyone. Good luck on your NFL betting.